So I'm going to read a little bit more from Myths and Legends. I left off here. So I think it was about Odysseus, I want to say. Yeah, the Odyssey. So I left off here. Nausicaa, is that what this is? The princess was with her friends at the seashore when a tired and naked Odysseus appeared before them. He was given clothes by Nausicaa. Odysseus and Calypso. Promised agelessness and immortality by Calypso, Odysseus was tempted to remain with her forever, but in the end he constructed a raft and resumed his journey home to Ithaca. The journey continues. Odysseus next stopped at an island where Helios, the sun god, kept his castle. Although they had been warned not to kill these animals, the sailors slaughtered a few of the cattle. Helios complained to Zeus, who struck their ship with a thunderbolt, killing the crew and shattering the ship. Only Odysseus survived, clinging to the wreckage. Odysseus was washed up on the island belonging to the goddess Calypso, who wanted him to stay with her. Though he lived there for 7 years, Odysseus finally resisted the temptation to stay further and traveled on. He was then shipwrecked again and washed ashore on the island of Alcinous, the king of the Phaeacians. Here, the goddess Athena contrived to make the king's daughter, Nausicaa, meet Odysseus, and the two were attracted to each other. Odysseus was tempted to stay with her, but finally, longing for his wife and his homeland, Ithaca, he traveled on again. Penelope's suitors. Bruised and greatly aged by his ordeal, Odysseus arrived in Ithaca to find his house full of suitors who, assuming he was dead, were hoping to marry his wife, Penelope, and take over all his lands and wealth. The suitors were living off Odysseus's food and abusing his wife's hospitality, just like the hostile invaders he had seen in his vision in the underworld. Penelope did not want to marry any of them, so she said she would declare her choice when she had finished weaving a tapestry on which she was working. Finally, Penelope had to make up her mind. She said she would marry the man who could string Odysseus's powerful bow. No one recognized Odysseus. He revealed himself only to his son, Telemachus. As he took his place with the others, he was the only one who succeeded in stringing the bow. Then Penelope realized the man was her husband. With the help of Telemachus, he killed all the suitors. But though he loved Penelope, Odysseus, after wandering so long, found it hard to settle down in Ithaca. Soon he was planning another journey and looking forward to more adventures. Ithaca. When Odysseus landed in Ithaca, he disguised himself as a beggar to find out what was going on in his house. He discovered that his wife and his son were alive, but they were beset by trouble. Many suitors were pressing Penelope for her hand in marriage. Because they believed Odysseus to be dead, their requests were legitimate, but still their behavior was inexcusable. For the Greeks, hospitality was the greatest of virtues, but the suitors abused Penelope's hospitality and showed no respect for her own sentiments. This abuse justified their eventual killing by Odysseus and his son Telemachus. Penelope's weaving. Odysseus's loyal wife unraveled a bit of her tapestry every night to put off the day when she would have to choose between the many suitors clamoring for her hand. Death of the suitors. Odysseus and Telemachus both launched an attack on the suitors, who quaked behind their shields as they fell one by one. Divine intervention. The gods of Mount Olympus not only influenced the Trojan War, but also had an impact on the adventures of Odysseus. Whenever the hero offended a deity, his journey home was delayed. Poseidon, Helios, and Zeus himself all hampered the progress of the voyage. After blinding Polyphemus, Odysseus shouted out his real name to the Cyclops as he sailed away. Polyphemus told Poseidon that Odysseus had blinded him, and the sea god unleashed a series of storms to wreck his ships. When Odysseus's men slew the cattle of Helios, Zeus punished him, though Hermes saved Odysseus from the magic of Circe, the one deity who consistently protected and advised the cunning hero was Athena. Divine protector. Athena was Odysseus's benefactor. She persuaded Calypso to release him, set up his meeting with Nausicaa, and advised him to disguise himself before confronting his wife's suitors. Helios on his chariot. The sun god, referred to as Hyperion by Homer, exerted his power when the Greeks ate the meat of his cattle, making the beef bellow as if it were alive. Some work of noble note may yet be done, not unbecoming men that strove with gods. Alfred, Lord Tennyson, Ulysses, 1842. Homer. Both the Odyssey and the Iliad are attributed to Homer, a blind poet who probably lived in the 8th century BCE. Little is known about Homer, and some scholars believe the epics were actually the work of earlier poets, who handed down the narratives by word of mouth, adapting and modifying them before they were written down by Homer himself. The two epics combine story, character, and poetic language so effectively that Homer is considered even today as one of the world's greatest writers. Modern Odysseys. The adventures of Odysseus are immensely popular because Homer's epic is a powerful tale with an open-ended conclusion. Its material has been used in new ways. One of these modern Odysseys is The Odyssey, a modern sequel, 1938, a long poem by Nikos Kazantzakis, 1883 to 1957, describing Odysseus's new adventures. Ulysses, 1922, a novel by James Joyce, 1882 to 1941. Also uses the idea of an odyssey in its story about Leopold Bloom, a native of Dublin who makes a meandering journey around his home city. Joyce's Ulysses. Bloom's wanderings take place in the course of a single day. The characters and encounters allude to the episodes from the Greek myth. The Argonauts. The myth of Jason and the Argonauts is one of the greatest quest stories in all mythology. It concerns Jason, heir to the throne of Iolcus in northeastern Greece. When Jason was a child, his uncle Peleus usurped the kingdom and imprisoned Jason's father, King Aeson. Jason's mother, Alcimede, smuggled him away and entrusted his care to Cheiron, the centaur, who raised him. After Jason grew to manhood, he went to Peleus and demanded the kingdom that was rightfully his own. Peleus said that Jason could only be king if he stole and brought back the precious golden fleece from King Aetes of Colchis. Harpies. With their hardened beaks and talons and their poisonous droppings, the harpies were formidable monsters. The Argo sets off. Jason wisely decided to take with him some of the strongest heroes in Greece. The crew set off on their perilous quest, cheered by the people of Iolcus. Dangers and obstacles. Oh, I know. Over here. The myth. For his journey to Colchis, Jason had a special ship built, named the Argo. The ship's timbers included planks taken from a sacred oak tree at the oracle of Zeus at Dodona, making the vessel especially strong. Jason persuaded many of Greece's greatest heroes, including Heracles, Polydeuces, Peleus, and Orpheus, to join him on the Argo. This group of heroes became known as the Argonauts. Dangers and obstacles. The heroes faced all kinds of obstacles on their journey, from encounters with attractive women who delayed their quest, to confrontations with the deadly perils of the sea. First, they were seduced by the all-female population of the island of Lemnos, delaying their progress for several months. Then one of their number, Hylas, left the quest when water nymphs pulled him into a well, and his friend Heracles, distressed at his loss, left the Argo to save him. The remaining Argonauts had still more dangerous challenges ahead. They got involved in a boxing match with King Amycus, a formidable fighter who usually killed his opponents. They were saved by the prowess of Polydeuces, who is said to have invented the sport of boxing. In another encounter, they met a blind prophet called Phineus, who was tortured by the Harpies, bird-like creatures with women's heads, also known as the hounds of Zeus. These frightful beings continually snatched away Phineus's food and pecked at his eyes. Two of the Argonauts chased the Harpies away, and in return, a grateful Phineus helped them sail through the clashing rocks, one of several other perils that they had to negotiate before reaching Colchis. Challenges in Colchis. In Colchis, King Aetes did not want to lose the golden fleece, so he set Jason a challenge to tame a pair of fire-breathing bulls and use them to pull a plow, dropping the teeth of serpents into the soil as he went. From the teeth, armed warriors would spring up to attack Jason. The hero only succeeded because the daughter of Aetes, the sorceress Medea, had fallen in love with him and helped him accomplish the task. Her father, however, still would not let Jason take the fleece. Then she suggested that Orpheus's music would charm the poisonous serpent guarding it and put it to sleep. With the fleece finally in his hands, Jason sailed for home, negotiating hazards such as Scylla and Charybdis, the sirens, and the giant Talos, who threw huge rocks at the ship until Medea killed him with a deadly glance. At last, Jason reached Iolcus and claimed his kingship. Key characters. Ancient writings contained several different lists of the Argonauts, but they all agree, including many of the most prominent ancient Greek heroes, such as Heracles, Patroclus, and Peleus, as well as the twins Castor and Polydeuces. Some accounts list the huntress at Atalanta as the only woman warrior among the crew. Most of these characters embodied great strength and skill in arms, but such qualities would have been useless without others such as the sorcery of Medea or the music of Orpheus. Jason. After his successful quest, some accounts state that Jason ruled happily in Iolcus. Others allege that his life was ruined by Medea's scheming. Medea. As she was the priestess of Hecate, the underworld goddess, Medea could use her sorcery to help Jason. Orpheus. Orpheus's entrancing music helped the Argonauts on many occasions throughout their arduous journey. The heroes shone like gleaming stars among the clouds. Apollonius of Rhodes, Argonautica 1. The flying ram. The ram was such a tireless flyer that it carried Phrixus all the way from Thebes to Colchis, which was said to be at the very edge of the world. The Golden Fleece. Athamas, king of Thebes, had a legitimate son, Phrixus, as well as children by Ino, his mistress. Ino tried to cause the death of Phrixus so that one of her own children could inherit the throne. Nephele, the mother of Phrixus, arranged for him to fly out of danger to Colchis on the back of a golden ram. Aeetes, ruler of Colchis, welcomed him, hoping that Phrixus would give him the ram. But he sacrificed the beast to Ares, and the priests of Ares displayed the fleece in a garden. It was guarded by a serpent that never slept. Peleus, who sent Jason on his quest, was the cousin of Phrixus. The Clashing Rocks. This pair of living rocks said to be at the entrance to the Black Sea, slammed together when a ship tried to pass between them. Dangers at sea. Jason and the Argonauts had to pass several of the perilous obstacles that had also been faced by Odysseus on his journey home from Troy. Both heroes faced the sirens with their alluring music, and Scylla and Charybdis. In addition, Jason had to pass between the clashing rocks. The challenges of weather, navigation, and the perils of the sea took the Argonauts on a much longer route than Odysseus's. However, their journey encompassed the Black Sea, the Danube, and Adriatic, and the Mediterranean. The Sirens. The sirens lured sailors with their seductive song. When the Argonauts sailed by them, Orpheus played his lyre continuously to drown out their voices. Scylla. The sea nymph Thetis helped the Argo to sail past Scylla, the monster who devoured sailors passing through the Strait of Messina. The Argo. Made by the shipbuilder Argus, the Argo had a prow with the gift of prophecy given by Athena. The vessel was thus able to take Jason and his companions through a series of deadly perils. The raft had more than one bank of oars so that it could be rowed at speed. The ship with the magical prow. Roman gods and goddesses. The Romans adopted many of the gods of the Etruscans, the people who lived in northern Italy before them, and adapted them to Roman ideas and beliefs. These deities were eventually combined with aspects of gods from lands conquered by the Romans, particularly Greece. Many Roman deities are very similar to those of the ancient Greeks, but they usually have different names and sometimes different myths. Though someone just came home, so I think I might just stop the video here. So I'll continue.